We all know somebody in our own life who is extremely approachable, and chances are that we find this person easy to approach when it comes to just about anything. And there is also a good chance that other people feel the same way about them. Now, if you were to compare approachable people to an object, these people would be like a tall glass of ice water after you have walked 100 miles through the hot desert. Many guys want to be good with people because social skills allow you to unlock many hidden treasures in your life. But the problem is that many guys are incredibly unapproachable without even knowing it. Being unapproachable can be a good thing if you find yourself in the wrong part of town because it can help fend off threats, but in pretty much any other situation, it is usually a bad thing. A man who is approachable draws people to him in a good way and is able to create far better connections with other people, which in the end can give him better relationships and open more doors of opportunity. So with that said, let's get right into it and find out if you might be unapproachable without even knowing it. Now, the first thing that you could be doing that makes you an unapproachable man involves your phone. Many guys these days, and especially women, walk around with their phones in their hand and looking down at them. But here's the crazy part. A lot of guys actually do this as a way to fight off discomfort when they're nervous around other people. So basically, the guy is just trying to make himself less nervous, not realizing that he is sending a huge signal to everyone around him, basically telling them that he doesn't want to be approached. Looking down at your phone while walking around tells other people that you're busy and you don't want to be approached, therefore making you unapproachable. So the easiest way to fix this is to simply stop looking down at your phone all the time. Now, the second sign that you're making other people not want to approach you has to do with something we're all familiar with, and it is your smile. As a man, smiling less in certain situations can make you appear more attractive to women, but at the same time, it can also make you look unapproachable. Many guys just don't smile very often for whatever reason and then wonder why people seem to avoid them. Smiling has and will always be a universal signal that says to other people, hey, I'm friendly and approachable. So if you rarely ever smile around other people, you could be unknowingly telling other people not to approach you. Now, the third sign that you could be an unapproachable dude without even knowing it has everything to do with your eyes. And this one is really simple to understand. If a person avoids eye contact with you, then you will most likely assume that they don't want you to approach them in any way. However, here's where things get tricky. Many guys avoid eye contact, not because they don't want to be approached, but because they're shy or nervous. And secretly, deep down, they want nothing more than for someone to approach them and say, hey, what's up? So one of the best ways to avoid being unapproachable and make people actually want to approach you is to simply make eye contact with them. Now for sign number 4. People who are charismatic tend to be confident and don't get nervous very often. And one of the top ways that guys are unknowingly making themselves super unapproachable is by being nervous, because nervousness is contagious. Inside of every human brain, we have something called mirror neurons, and these neurons allow us to look at other people and basically feel what they are feeling. So when we look at someone who is very nervous, our mirror neurons begin to fire, causing us to feel the nervousness that they are feeling. And for most people, nervousness is very uncomfortable. So if you're nervous all the time, you no longer have to wonder why other people seem to avoid you. And it's simply because nervousness doesn't feel good. So if you're nervous, it will be very difficult for other people to not feel your nervousness, causing them to feel uncomfortable and not want to be around you. And most people would rather spend time around other people who make them feel good, period. Now, the fifth sign that you might be secretly unapproachable and not even know it is an important psychological factor, meaning it's something that is hidden and harder to find unless you know what you're looking for. And the fifth sign that you are an unapproachable guy is simply trying too hard, or on the flip side, trying too little. Now, we all know that one dude in school or at work who is always trying way too hard. He's a dude at work who kisses up to all the managers constantly, always seems to have limitless energy, and is always trying to one-up everyone that he works with or comes across. This is a guy who is always trying way too hard to impress other people, usually because of a psychological problem that he has with his parents. In this person's head, they think that they're always winning, but what's really happening is that they're just making themselves extremely unapproachable. The try-hard guy unknowingly makes himself unapproachable because people simply can't relate to him. The problem is that people who try too hard or too little come off as fake and inauthentic, and this is the thing that makes people avoid them. So whenever you find yourself in a situation where you're trying way too hard to impress other people, just take it down a notch and you'll become a way more approachable guy. Now for the sixth sign, which also happens to be one of the most common. Many guys grow up skinny and weak and maybe even have some problems with getting picked on by other kids. And because of this, they try to develop a new persona, which involves building huge muscles, getting a tattoo sleeve, and doing all sorts of things that make them look super masculine. And while this persona works well for scaring off other men who might pose a threat, it can easily have the same effect on women. So what happens is you have this super intimidating guy who is 300 pounds of muscle with a shaved head and beard, who scares off not just men, but especially women. So the guy achieved his goal to correct the insecurity of being weak, but he went too far in the direction of becoming intimidating, and now he has become super unapproachable. What a lot of guys don't realize is that humans are visual creatures, which means the second that we look at somebody, we make all sorts of assumptions about them. And many guys don't realize that their attempt to look strong and intimidating could go too far and make them very unapproachable. But it's not just your looks that can do this, it is also your behavior. Most guys don't want to be around other guys who are super aggressive, super loud, or obnoxious. So keep an eye on your behavior and try to stay relaxed, confident, and friendly, and this will make people actually want to be around you. Now, the seventh and final thing that you could be doing without even knowing it, that's making you an unapproachable guy, involves your body. Many guys accidentally display negative body language, which sends signals to other people telling them that you don't want to be approached. But the reality is that many guys engage in closed-off body language, not because they don't want people to approach them, but because it's their way of dealing with nervousness in social situations. And closed-off body language involves things like covering your face, crossing your arms, looking angry, not smiling, and avoiding eye contact. So to be more approachable, simply do the opposite of these things and keep your body language open and inviting. And this has been 7 signs that could indicate you're more unapproachable than you think, and how to make people actually want to approach you. And with that said, until next time, thanks for watching.